Proceedings, bless us all. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Our first, please be seated. Our first hymn is number 111, 111 in the Advent Youth. Troublesome times are here, filling man's heart with fear. Freedom we all hold dear, and always at stake. Humble your heart to God, safe from the chasing rod. See the way pilgrims draw Christians away. Jesus is coming, so morning our nights are new. Many will meet their doom. Trouble will surely so. All of the dead shall rise, righteous lead in the sky. Go where no one dies, ever bound. Love of so many call, losing their home of gold. This is God's word, and so evil abound. When these signs come to pass, near in the end, alas, it will come very fast. Troubles will some. Jesus is coming soon. Morning or night or noon, many will meet there to trumpet surely sound. All of the dead shall rise, righteous seated in the sky, going where no one dies, ever bound. Trouble will soon be o'er, happy forevermore, when we meet on the shore, free from our care. Rising up in the sky, telling this world goodbye. Oh, where we then will fly, glory to share. Jesus is coming soon, morning or nights are new. Many will meet their doom. Trumpet surely sound. All of the dead shall rise, righteously in the sky. No where no one dies, ever bound. Our next service is number 5555. Heaven came down and glory filled my soul. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful day I will never forget. After I wander in darkness away, Jesus, my Savior, I met. Oh, what a tender, compassionate friend. He met the need of my heart. Shadows is falling with joy, I am telling. He made all the darkness depart. Oh, heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. When at the cross my Savior made me whole, He made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my night was turned to day. Heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. Born of the Spirit with life from above, into God's family divine. Justified fully through Calvary's love. Oh, what a standing is mine. And the transaction so quickly was made, when as a sinner I came. To God the offer of grace He did proffer, He sent me your presence in. Oh, heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. When at the cross my Savior made me whole, He made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my night was turned to day. Heaven came my soul. Born of the Spirit from into God's family divine, justified fully through Calvary's love. Oh, what a standing is mine, and the transaction so quickly was made, when as a sinner I came. Took on the offer of graves, he did proffer, he saved me, your praises, their name. Oh, heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. When at the cross my Savior made me whole. He made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my life was turned to dead. Heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. Now I hope that will surely endure after the passing of time. I have a future in heaven for sure. There in those mansions of light. And it's because of that wonderful day when at the cross I believe. Which is eternal, the blessings supernal from his precious hand I receive. Oh, heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul. When at the cross my Savior made me whole. He made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my life was turned to dead. Heaven came down and glory filled my soul. He filled my soul.
Good evening, everyone. Roses are red, violets are blue. It's so good to fellowship with you. We've been away for a while, having a way on Zoom, but it's good to be back, right here with you. Welcome one, welcome all. Bow your heads for prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you for bringing us all here today. Please help the program to be successful, dear Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Good evening, church. Please stand. You will now have our aim, motto, and pledge. The aim, the Advent message to all the world in my generation. The motto, the love of Christ compels me. The pledge, loving the Lord Jesus. I promise to take an active part in the youth society, doing what I can to help others and preach the gospel in all the world. The song,
Adventist you far me from every and sea. Together we work and pray and play in happy harmony. We have a faith to share with others everywhere. A message of love from one above to show the world we care. Adventist youth, Adventist youth, Adventist youth for me. Adventist you for we from every land and sea. Together we work and pray and play in happy harmony. We have a faith to share with others everywhere. A message of love from one above to show the world we care. Adventist youth, Adventist youth, Adventist you for we.
Our, our scripture reading is taken from Romans chapter 13, verse 8. Romans chapter 13, verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Here ends the scripture reading.
Good afternoon, church. An interesting money fact. The first coin were minted around 2,500 years ago. Paper money was first used in China over 1,000 years ago. The benefits of metal coins is that they are portable and durable.
Good afternoon, everyone. That was an interesting money fact. Our program this evening is titled Planning Your Financial Future. And to present it to us is our very own Pastor Roosevelt Haynes. He is the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists Stewardship and Trust Services Director, and he has been an accountant for many years. And so I know that he is more than capable of presenting this evening to us. So also, we're going to have a question and answer segment after the presentation. So if you have any questions, if any questions arises from the presentation, just take a note of it. You can write it in the Zoom chat or you can write it on YouTube. And for those persons who are here in person, then you'll be able to answer questions. So make a note of all the questions that you may have. And without further ado, I'm going to present to you Pastor Haynes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Not too sure if those okay, good, wonderful. All right, it's good to be here with you this evening to share with you a couple of principles on planning for your future. I was hoping that we would have had our PowerPoint up and running, but I'm not seeing it as yet. So that's going to put me in a little tickle. All right. I want to thank our young people for ably leading us this evening. I want to thank those who are here with us. Now, it would have been so easy if everybody was here, so that as I do the presentation, you have a question, you can put your hand up, and I can answer your question. I think that by the time I finish this presentation, that it may be well late into the night. It may be well late into the night, and but we'll see where it goes. Let's bow our heads as we begin. Father in heaven, we give you thanks for the privilege where we can come to worship you. But it's also important that we recognize that as human beings, we still have to plan effectively for our futures. And so, as we go through this presentation this evening, we ask your Holy Spirit to guide and direct everything that would be said. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Now, when we begin to talk about finance, people get a little edgy, especially when you hear this church director come to talk to you about finance. You get a little edgy. You think that all he can come and tell me now is how we can give more money to the church. You know, that's what they think. How we coming out? I coming out to give you all to give you all tips on how to give more money to the church. But let me disabuse you of that notion, and let me just say to you is that when you give, you don't give to the church, you give to God. Yeah, that's a very key principle, in that when you give, you do not give to the church. You give to God. Now, so when we talk about giving to God, we recognize that God is the owner of everything. I'm starting with some basic principles. Basic principles of planning for your finance is to understand that God is owner of everything. There's a psalm that tells us, Psalm 24:1 says, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof." Everything belongs to God. Everything, every single thing belongs to God. There's nothing that you own. And when you plan with that understanding that everything belongs to God, then you understand. Then you have to ask God, how best can I manage the things that you have given me? That's key. Because anytime you plan for your financial future and you leave God out, you're going to end up in the Bible says what? There's a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end leads to destruction. Yeah, you'll end up, or you may make a lot of money and die miserable. Destruction anyway. Right? Destruction anyway. So God is the owner of everything. Psalm 24:1. And then the Bible also tells us, since God owns everything, that means that all that we have, it comes from God. How do I know that? Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 18. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 18 says that it is God who gives us the power to earn wealth. I want that one stick. It is God who gives us the power to earn wealth. So the money or the income that we receive when we work, when we get involved in some sort of financial transactions, when we farm, when we do our own private business, wherever our income comes from, it is God who gives us the strength to get that. And if we were to pay God for the strength that He gives us for getting that wealth, how much money you think we would have to pay Him? Because He wakes you up one morning. How much would you pay a man to wake you up one morning? It is the clock that makes the noise, but it's God who open your ears. So you have to pay Him first to wake you up in the morning. Then you have to pay, as you will call it, futures. You have to pay now on the fact that He has made your body able to digest your breakfast. Did I tell you that He provided the breakfast also? Okay, all right. I think we're getting somewhere here. So we understand that it is God who owns everything, because He's the one who gives us the power to have wealth. And so when it comes to finance, that is a key two key principles. God owns everything. God gives us the power to earn wealth. So all the money that I have received in the past, and all the money that I will receive in the future, comes only through the grace of God. I don't care how much degree you got. You got people that got degrees and can't find work. So the mere fact that you're working is because God has given you the opportunity to get a job. Somebody say amen for that. Yeah. How many people we churn out every year? Every graduation you see 3,000, 4,000. The numbers are claiming everybody got a degree. In fact, I remember one minister saying that the idea is that there must be a person with a degree in every house. You know, there's a person with a degree in every house. That's a lot of degrees. And for a small island like this, that much work to go around. So God gives us. So now, once we understand these two basic principles, I'm going to introduce you now to three other principles that will help us to resolve any financial issue that we have. I'm going to share three principles with us that will help us to involve any resolve any financial issue that we have. The first principle is the principle of discipline. Everybody know what discipline is? Yeah? Discipline, they tell me, is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptations to abandon it. So if you're going to be successful financially, if you're going to have a good financial future, you must be disciplined, which means that you're going to be able to see things and don't see them. You know, people say turn your eye to it, right? You got to be able to see things and don't see them. Let me just make sure. Oh, okay. Thought that one was with me. You got to be able to so if you're unable to exercise discipline, you will find yourself spending money where you shouldn't spend money. You'll find yourself buying things that you don't need. You'll find yourself getting involved in transactions that you shouldn't be involved in. And more often than not, that will result in I don't seem to have control. That will result in poor financial decisions, which will result in little to no money. When you look at all of these rich guys don't make money by spending money while they don't spend money while even in all of their deals are very shrewd deals that they practice a lot of discipline. So they always, when they see something, they look at it, they examine it, they analyze it, they get people to come in and analyze it for them, and then they will decide whether they're going to put money into it or not. So they don't see something, so you, that look good here, let me buy that. All right, wonderful. All right, so therefore that's one thing that's working. All right. So if you're going to be successful in planning your financial future, if your financial future is going to be viable, you must practice discipline. If you have no discipline, you'll end up broke. Can I say broke? You'll be end up living from month to month. Yeah, you'll be end up living from month to month because discipline is necessary. And if you want to be able to achieve your financial goals, you have to be disciplined. All right, now the next one is commitment. So discipline, all three of these principles really interlock with each other. Commitment is the state or quality to being dedicated to something. So if I have a financial plan, I must be committed to it. And in my commitment to it, I have to ask myself three questions. Three questions I have to ask myself to see my commitment. What do I need to start doing in order to be fully committed to this? So let's say you have a financial goal and you say, okay, listen, I want to be able that when I reach age 30 or when I reach age 40 or when I reach age 50, I want to have land and my own house. You have to then find out how much that is going to cost. You have to then come up with a financial plan to make that cost, and then you have to commit yourself to it. And you say, okay, what do I need to start doing in order to make sure that I am able to put aside this money every month? Now, you have to look and see where you spend money first. And then you have to say, okay, let's say you want to put aside, let's look at a nice little figure, $500. You want to put aside $500 a month. Yeah? You want to put aside $500 a month. Currently, you are spending money when you get hungry, you just go to Chefette and buy something, or you go and buy something from a vegetarian store to eat. You buy food. You don't cook food, you buy food. Yeah? You try to make sure that when you go to church that you have at least every month you have a new pair of shoe or a new outfit. Yeah? And you want to make sure that every time you look at your phone, it must have data on it. Now these are things that people really feel they can't do, the phone for data. And so now you gotta say, okay, if I'm to make that amount of money, I need to start setting aside $500 every month. That's what you got to start doing. And the second question is, what do I have to start doing? I mean, so what do I have to stop doing in order to make it? What do I have to stop doing? It means I may have to start putting all the money on my phone. It means I may have to start cooking food instead of buying food. It may mean I may have to let one pair of shoes last me for 6 months before I look at buying another one, or wait till when the heel of that one walk right off before I buy a new one. If I'm to make sure that I have the $500. And that is not the way discipline comes in now. Discipline comes in now where you say, hey, you know what? I am so committed to this that instead of buying food, I am going to cook food. I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to discipline myself. And then the third question is, am I prepared to pay the cost of this commitment? Do I really want to be able to walk around with a phone that don't have data on it? Do I feel comfortable coming to church in a pair of old shoes? Do I feel comfortable going to work and while everybody else buying lunch, I gotta be opening a flask? That's the cost. No, I'm not calling anything big. I'm calling simple things that people have to do. I remember I was doing a presentation somewhere, and an individual came to me and they said to me, Pastor, you only make such amount of money, a little bit amount of money, but I want to be able to do things. They said, well, look and see what you need, what you can do without. She said, well, Pastor, I can't for anything. I need water, electricity. I said, you need electricity? I said, do you really need electricity? She said, no. The person said, no, I can't do it for electricity. But you can't do it for electricity if you had to. I think sometime this year or last year we wait a good week or two before electricity. And I can't remember anybody dying from not having electricity. Anybody died? Somebody died from not having electricity? So what I'm saying is that if you work for a small salary and you want to be able to achieve things in life, it may mean that you may have to further your education. Now, where are you going to get the money to further your education? You're going to say, well, I can't spare the money from my salary to get no education, so I will continue to get this small salary. No. There's some things you can take off. Stop using your phone. Go to Light and Power and tell Light and Power, I can pay $5 a month for the meter so you don't take it off. But I'm not using any electricity. And save your electric bill. You may have to save it for 3 months, but that gives you the money that you need to do what? Invest in a training program that you can improve yourself so that you can do what? Make more money. But once again, it takes commitment and it takes discipline. Right? It takes commitment and it takes discipline. And I tell people, Flow. Anybody here work for Flow? Just want to make sure that nobody here don't work in your bank or nothing like this, right? Okay, good. Flow has a way of making you feel that you need everything on your phone. You know your home phone, so you need to know who's calling. Well, but I don't want to talk to she. You know that one? You pastor calling me for? Or you're on the phone, you hear, boop, boop, and you go like, I want to. You understand what I'm saying? You don't really need those services. You don't need to see who calling you. I remember in the days when you had a little rotary phone, you didn't know who was calling, you pick up the phone and you say hello. If you don't want to talk to the body, you say, well, I'm busy now, I can call you back later. Boom. Easy like that. But now you gotta pay for call waiting, because nobody is supposed to wait. Yeah? You want to pay for what you call it? Malicious? Malicious? Oh, sorry, caller ID. That's you want. You want to pay for caller ID. And you got all of these services on your phone. I want to decide that, you know what, we can take all those things off our phone. And we save something like 20 something dollars a month. Yeah, multiply it by 12, that's 200 and something dollars a year. Yeah, multiply that by 10, that's 2,000 and something dollars. But that's $240. That's $20 that can go to do something else. But what it takes is discipline and commitment. If you don't want to answer your phone, you don't answer your phone. Everybody get vexed because you don't answer your phone, tell them that they don't pay your phone bill. All right? So commitment and discipline. And then the final thing is the final principle is a principle called delayed gratification, which is the act of resisting an impulse to take an immediately available reward in the hope of obtaining a more valuable reward in the future. Delayed gratification is I am going to forego the satisfaction that buying this pair of shoe or eating this food that I didn't cook. Sorry, the satisfaction of not being able to cook but still be able to eat. I'm willing to forego that satisfaction so that I can achieve the greater satisfaction of owning my own home. All right. So delayed gratification. So as as Christians, as individuals who are looking to plan for their future, if you don't practice these three principles, you're going to find yourselves in problems. I can tell you how to make the best budget. I can tell you what to do to get out of debt and what to stay out of debt. But if you don't practice discipline, commitment, and delayed gratification, you're in trouble. So I don't have to say anything else for the rest of the evening. Those three things: commitment, discipline, delayed gratification. Those are three key principles. So watch the 5 I've given you so far for the evening. First one is God is the owner of everything. Second one is what you have don't belong to you because God is the one who gave you the power to earn wealth. Third principle is if you're going to be successful at anything, you must be disciplined. Fourth principle is if you are to be disciplined enough or if you're to achieve, you must be committed to it. And then you must practice delayed gratification. So you gotta delay the satisfaction of walking to church in new shoes, so that you can be able to. When that person told me, that person had to delay the satisfaction of being able to turn on a light, so that they can be able to get more money in the future to make themselves better, right? Make themselves better. So these three key principles. So everything that I say this evening, everything else that I say this evening, will only make sense if you apply those three principles into. If you apply those three principles. Let me see what. So God is okay. We've done that one. God is the owner of everything. And so now, we also need to remember. Once we remember these three principles, those 5 principles, is that God blesses us with income. We learned that just now. It is God who gives us the power to get wealth. And why does God bless us with income? Why does God bless us with income? God blesses us with income, firstly, to finance the needs of his cause. I already thought that we hear people on YouTube say amen. God, people here say amen, so I will go all the people on YouTube say amen. God blesses us with income to finance his cause. That's why God blesses us with income, to finance the needs of his cause first. The needs of his cause, man, first. Look to somebody near to you and say, God needs come first. That's you, man. That's you, man. God's needs comes first. Why? Because God is the owner of everything, and God gives us the power to earn wealth. Now, if He's the owner of everything and He gives us the power to earn wealth, then therefore, if we want to make sure that capacity continues, what do you do now? Okay, let me just see if I can give an example. Um, if I have a shop, that sells a myriad of things, and out of my profits, I give to Sister Fiona the $500 to help her with education and all that. If Fiona wants to buy something, where's the first place she should go and shop? Not at my shop. Well, no. If Fiona has friends, what's the first thing that she would encourage people to buy from? From me, because she's the one who is benefiting from me. And it's the same thing. If God is the one who gives us the grace, the power to earn wealth, and His cause is important, and we contribute to His cause, which satisfies Him, which does what? Continues to keep the cycle going. Simple as that. So if the owner has a choice to choose between buying from my shop or cooking for herself or making something for herself, she may say, you know what? Let me buy you. Let me encourage you to buy from Pastor Haynes shop, because even though I may be able to save a little $2 here, if I don't help people to support Pastor Haynes, I may miss out on $500. All right, miss out on $500. So God blesses us with income to finance the needs of His cause. And secondly, He blesses us with income to finance the needs of our family. And your family could be you, it could be you and your wife, it could be you, your wife, and your children. It could be you, your wife, your children, your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your sister, your brother, whatever the family configuration may be, that's your family. So God first, and then after God comes your family, which would mean yourself. Right? God first, and then your family. All right, so we have a myriad of examples where God blessed people, and one of the ones that come to my mind is the children of Israel. Remember when the children of Israel were leaving Egypt? Yeah, when they were leaving Egypt, God said to Moses 3 times. He said to Moses, when you go, tell the people that I come and deliver them, and they will leave Egypt. They will spoil Egypt. It means that they will not leave Egypt empty-handed. Now remember, the children of Israel were slaves. They're slaves, you know. I want you to get that in your mind. The children of Israel were not well-off people that just decide that one day they're going to go to the wilderness and worship this God. They were slaves. And God said to Moses, tell the children of Israel, at the right time, go and ask their friends. Tell your friends you're going on a little trip and you want something to take with you. No, I mean, if is a slave, and my other friends are slaves, they didn't send me going to them, but therefore, my friends got to be the friends of my master. So I'm going to other Egyptians now to ask. So God is saying to the Egyptians, you are slaves, go and ask your owner's friends for some things. And God says, I will give them favor in the eyes of the Egyptians, which comes back to the principle God gives us the power to earn wealth. As I say to people, the only reason you got that job is not because you got a degree, and because all two women got degrees. And your degree may be worse degree than that other person, but God gave you grace and give you favor in the eyes of the employer, and you get that job. The reason why your aunt say you that money is not because she like you, it's because of grace. So everything we receive is because God allows us to see favor. Oh man. Everything we receive is because God allows us to see favor. So it's not because you're bright. It's not because you're beautiful. It's not because you're strong and you just work hard. Yeah, all of that is added to it, but most of it is because of favor. When you reflect on it, think about it. You get A in that course now. But remember, there was a question that you didn't too confident about. Is the lecturer, man. God allow you to get favor in the eyes of the lecturer, man. And he said, "Man, let me get the ear, man." Huh? And you get both places, man, I get all of this. No, you didn't get it here. You better give God thanks for the grace. And so the children of Israel, I just made that point to help us to understand that everything that we receive is a blessing from God's hands. That's something you got to remember. Because when it comes to taking care of God's needs first, and you do not hold that principle in mind, it means that you're going to take the money that's supposed to be for God and you're going to put it elsewhere. So the children of Israel went to the Egyptians, and the Egyptians came and put some clothes on it. They said they put the clothes on the children's back. 3 and 4 suits of clothes the children wearing. So children wear their clothes, earrings in the ears. What is called these things? Bracelets. Round the wrist, chains around their neck, anklets around their ankles. Gold, if you please. The plastic. No, the leather. Oh, leather. The leather. Gold. And the first thing, when the children of Israel, watch what they did. When the children of Israel got out of Egypt and Moses went up into the mountain, the children of Israel started to have a desire to worship, and that's why they then took the same goal and made a what? A golden calf. They decided to spend the money, spend what God blessed them with, how they feel like. Out of that experience, about 5,000 people died. 5 or 6,000 people died. All who helped in that, pulling out the earrings out of the children's ears. They said, "Man, grab the children, so bring them earrings here, bring them gold earrings." Now watch it. God then said to Moses, "Tell the children, all who will bring me willingly," and he starts to list a whole set of things. And then he ends verse 8 by saying, "Let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them." Long story short, when God blesses, he blesses to satisfy the needs of his cause first. Now the children of Israel, they're brought to the men who were responsible for building the sanctuary. Tell Moses, "Okay, tell the children to stop bringing." So they didn't stop bringing because they didn't have anything left. They stopped bringing because Moses had to tell them stop bringing. And when they stopped bringing, they still had more than enough to take care of themselves and take care of their families. So when we trust God, we are able to take care of his needs first. And then what is left over, God uses that to take care of our needs. Oh, I like how I say that one. I like how I say it. When we trust God, we're able to take care of his needs first. And then what is left over, God helps us to take care of our needs. And then he adds some more blessings in there, blessings in that you got a machine that ain't for 15, 16, 17, 18 years, nothing happened to it. Anybody know what you're talking about? Your car don't get no problem. And if it get a problem, somebody come and help you out. You know what you're talking about? And that what looks like a small amount leaving over is able to stretch. And you're able now to not only help it stretch for this month, but save something for other months. So the financing the needs of God's cause, and included in financing the needs of God's cause is charitable giving. So we take care of those in ministry. You see, no one can say that. I know passing hands, but I come with that one and all. You know, Pastor Jens will come with that, take care of those in ministry. But that's what he said. Bring your tithe into the storehouse so that they may meet in my house. Why does he want meat in his house? Because there are people who are working for him who need to be fed. The Levites and the priests. Those were a ministry for God. And so the tithe satisfied that need, and also the charitable giving. And Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 13 and 14, that the gospel work is sustained by those who are the fruits of the gospel. All right? All right, let's go to the next principle. So you're financing your needs of God, and now you're financing your needs of your family. 1 Timothy 5:8 says that it is a responsibility. It says any man who does not take care of his house is worse than a infidel. No. Let me just see if we can break this down. You had people who followed God, a God of some sort. Then you had people who didn't follow God, but they were good people still. And then you had another group of people who didn't follow God and who were not good, but they were all right. And then you got the infidels. The infidel is at the bottom of the total pole. When somebody call you an infidel in Bible times, let me tell you, you're real bad off. You're really bad off. And so. Okay. All right. So, Paul says it is important that you take care of the needs of your home. It's important that you take responsibility for your house and for your household. It is important. Because if you don't do that, then you're worse than a. So if I choose to take all of my money, all, and give it to the cause of Christ, and leave my family to suffer, the infidel. Everybody get that? If I take all of my money and I decide to just give it to people, anybody that come along, and my family suffers, my family's needs are not taken care of, then I'm an infidel. So you take care of God's needs first, and then you take care of the needs of your household. Right? You take care of your needs of your household. And that's what we are here to talk about this evening. How do we take care of the needs of the household? So our responsibility then is not only for present needs, but also for future needs. So when we are planning, we are not just planning for tomorrow or next week, but we got to be able to plan. We can't go past it. We got to be able to plan for 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road, a year down the road. Anytime that you have income, you know the people that say, "Well, my income I just live from month to month." Anybody know what you're talking about? People say I live from month to month. Anytime you live from month to month, you're a poor planner. And there's going to come a month when you're going to get capsized. You know what I mean? That something is going to pop up, and if you did not plan for it properly, you will find yourself in a lurch. So our responsibility is to plan for the present needs of God's cause and of our families, and also the future needs of God's cause and our families. Right? So how do we do this? That's where we come in to the whole idea of budgeting. And budgeting now is the process that manages the distribution of your income. That manages the distribution of your income. All right, that's what budgeting is. So you have all of your income, and if you're a family, you consolidate and you bring your income together. I can say this one real slowly. There are some families that The wife says, I can pay light bill, I can pay water bill, all the rest of the money is mine. The husband says, what the bill they got left? I can pay phone bill, I can pay mortgage, and I can buy the food. All the rest of the money left is mine. No, that works. That works really sweet. Does it? Does it work really sweet? Because you have one person over here who is keeping all of the money for themselves, and this person over here is keeping all the money for themselves. It means that that couple doesn't have a plan as a family. So if a car say, what the man looks over and say, well, you got money, buy the car. You'll buy it, you'll insure it, you're gonna you're gonna put gas in it, you're gonna put gas in it. You understand what I'm saying? And now the woman realizes that all the money she got really didn't a lot of money in the first place, and that she looks over and see that her husband has some excess money. Are you with me? And she goes, but and he says, no, 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 no. Remember, we agreed. I pay this, I pay this. You pay this, you pay this, and everything back at you. So everything at you. And this is what may probably happen. She may just go and decide to buy the car and then realize that she runs into a little financial challenge. Or it may be him. He goes and buy this expensive vehicle and runs into a little financial spot. And the God be looking at the wife, asking her, telling her, well, I ain't got no money to buy food this month. You know who he is now? Where's the infidel? Can you buy food this month? What they needed to do is pull their money together and then distribute their money based on a plan that they agree together. And that's where the budget now comes in. So hey, you pull all your money, pull all your money. I believe this is just me. This is just me. I believe that as long as you're part of our household and you're working, your money should go into the pool. Nobody ask me why. I believe that. Why? Because it is not mommy and daddy by themselves. It is a family unit. And if we're going to achieve anything, we have to achieve it as a family. So let's say because then you may have a case now where the child go now and start making a little money, you know. Mother and father got their pool there. The child decide, you know what? I got a backyard because they want to be able to get around when they ready. Yeah, and they're going to buy a car. Yeah, but once again, they realize that they got a shirt to put gas in it and fix it when it go bad. But now the family is going through a financial crisis. What happens? They're in trouble, and the little child that got the little money in trouble. So everybody in trouble. What they needed to do, pull all the resources together and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to buy a car. And the car is funded out of what? Out of the pool. Now, obviously, in your budgeting, you'd have taken into consideration all of the other elements that I'm going to discuss now, right? And the first element in budgeting is what? God comes first. So when you get your salary, you do not look and see if you can pay your light bill or your water or your or food or whatever the case may be. What you look to do is calculate what belongs to God first. So what belongs to God? Tithe. Yeah? What does belong to God? Offering. You know, people always ask the question, Pastor, how do I know how much offering to give? Because there are some people that have some very, 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 very sensitive fingertips. If you know what I mean, they're the people that put their hand inside the pocket or inside their bag without looking. And they're able to know the faces of the men or the notes. And I might go like, yeah, that's Errol Noah. Watch it, Errol. That Grant. Oh, not Grantley at all. So, John. Yeah, John. Everybody know John, right? And they do sort of ease up John and drop John and say, oh, they put their hand in the pocket and they say, no, that's the dolphin, that's the fish. I want the windmill. Am I talking truth? But that is not giving offering. Offering is something that must be covenanted with God. We are talking about planning for your financial future. Planning for your financial future, you must be able to take care of God's needs. Now, the tithe goes to support those in ministry like me. But what about the local church? How is the local church going to do their ministry? The only way the local church is going to do their ministry is through what? Offering. So therefore, my giving to offering must not be sporadic. And when I feel, and depend on what I feel in my pocket, my offering to the church must be systematic, just as my tithe is systematic. Now, some people say you give 5% of your income. Some people say you give 10%. Some people say, well, I give whatever in my pocket. I say you give what is needed to satisfy the work of God. No, that's a presentation all by itself. You give what is needed to satisfy the work of God. And sometimes it may be 5%, sometimes it may be 10%, sometimes it may even be 20%. But who you trusting? Because you're not giving to the church. Remember that you're not giving to the church, you're giving to God. So you give your tithe, you start out your tithe, you return your tithe and your offering. And next thing that comes up, so people feel, okay, now that I return my tithe and offering, let me see how much I can put for food. No, the next thing that comes up is savings. So it's God's needs, and God's needs should include what is necessary to satisfy present needs, plus what is necessary to satisfy future needs. So a church should not be looking a church should not be looking for money to fix its roof when the roof goes bad. The church should be looking to should be saving money for fixing the roof all when the roof is still good. And so as you're sending out your budget for the church got to be budgeting a little bit amount every month that will go towards building and roof repairs. So that when the roof gets a hole in it, they don't have to come and ask a little old lady who does put in $5 every month that tells them that she wants $100. Where that little old lady get $100 from? Oh, did she love pension? And that's the same thing. The same principle applies to your household. The first thing you do is take care of your future needs. That's the first thing you do. And you take care of your future needs by savings. And by savings, they say that you should save at least between 5 to 10%. Now, okay, you're not saying it, but if you look back, you can see it right there. Some of the things that you can invest in with your savings. All right, you got real estate, you got bank accounts. Now the bank the bank don't get no money. 0.01% in no money. You got millions of dollars on the bank to at least get something out of the bank. But you can deposit your money on a credit union. Your credit union gives a higher interest of return, right? You got investment in bonds, and bonds you got to be very careful. And once again, you got to be able to stop. You got to be very careful as well. There's something that I have there that people call it an expense, but it's not an expense. A mortgage. A mortgage is an investment. Why is it an investment? Because at the end, when you have repaid all of the money, you have what? You have an asset. Yeah, you have an asset. Rent is an expense because you can pay 10 years in rent, and when in 10 years done, 25 years done, you ain't got a thing. In fact, the person can come and say to you, well, I got a niece there that she now get married, and she husband looking for some place to live. So I gonna need the house. And you they there living for 20 years, giving that rent faithfully. I would say to young people, stand home till you're married. You know, young people just get some, they go to work and they get a little dollar in their hand. They say, boy, I just want to get from under my mother house or under my father house, and they're gonna rent a place that can cost them $800 a month. Light bill is only 200 something dollars. They could pay the light bill and got $500 to spare. One time, mommy, when mommy, you know what I mean? But once again, if we use the whole idea, you pull your money together, the family can plan for the future of that child as well by setting aside money to help that child so that they can deposit on land or deposit on a house or whatever the case may be. Once again, that's pooling. It's going. All right, just give me a minute. Tell me it going. I don't know where it gone. One, two. Okay. This one seems to be working. All right, where was I? Right. So, and that's why I say to people, a mortgage is not an expense because at the end of the day, you have house and you have land, and more often than not, the value of your land would have appreciated, and that it may even be more, it may be just as valuable as the mortgage, the cost of the mortgage itself. Right? So don't see. So when somebody say, "My get a mortgage," no, no, boy, a mortgage is too much money. No, that is investing in your future. Rent is not investing in your future. Rent is investing in somebody else's future, but not yours. So you want to be able to make sure that you at least set aside 5 to 10% of your income in savings. 5 to 10% of your income. Okay, I lost feed there. I lost feed there. 5 to 10% of your income in your savings, right? And that is very important. That's very now another reason why we want to be able to make sure that we have savings. So you may have a life insurance. Life insurance is not an expense either. That's a savings. That's an investment. You may have your mortgage. That's not a expense either. That's a savings. But you may also need to set aside a little cash of money just in case one night you get up and you're feeling a little sick and you ain't got no credit card, or the place you're going don't have no credit card. Yeah, don't have no credit card machine. All right, so you got to be able to have savings for that. You also want to be able to have savings so that if perchance your any piece of equipment in your house, your car, your refrigerator, your washing machine, your stove decides that they're going to stop working, you don't have to worry about where you're going to get the money from because you have already saved something towards that. And what saving does, and I'm not going to get to there, so I'm going to make that point now. What saving does, it avoids you having to go and get things out on purchase. No higher purchase. Anybody here work for Quartz, Massey, anything like that? Higher purchase is one of the worst things you can ever get yourself involved in. I would not recommend you to do higher purchase. Save and save and save till you get the cash money that you can buy what it is. Because really and truly, right? Really and truly, right? Really and truly, you can go and buy a little stove from inside the store, a little one burner stove, and still cook on it. Yeah, yeah. And you don't really need the dinette set, you know. The dinette set is only so that when people come to the house, you can look good that you got a nice dinette set. Well, if the Adventist brethren don't want to come, but you serve because they got sit down on the ground, that's their fault. Huh?
Don't expense yourself to appease other people. There are a lot of people who going to get things on hire purchase because they believe that their house must have all of these things so that when people come to visit, that people go, but your house look real good. But if they come to your house and they see empty space, they go like, huh? Then you see that empty space there, that empty space got me keeping money in my pocket. But if you remember the three principles we talked about: discipline, commitment, delayed gratification, right? Eventually, you'll be able to bring in a little TV. Yeah? You may be able to bring in a little small little dinette set, you know? You may be able to bring in a bed. People, a bed? A bed. There are so many things that we believe that we need in life that we don't really need. You're gonna buy a piece of foam that cheaper than the bed. A full size bed is gonna cost you close to over $1,000. You're gonna buy a piece of foam and lay down on the floor. The floor moving and all. But nobody would not want anybody to come into the house and see that they got lay down on the floor. They feel that that's. But you are basically saving yourself from going to buy something on hire purchase, which is going to cost you sometimes twice the value to three times the value of it. But that's true. If you sleep on the floor, you're living like the Chinese. Sleep on the floor until you can get a raise. I laid up on the bed. Or if you know somebody handy, let them build a bed frame for you. It ain't cost as much. Yeah. So savings is very important, not only for present, but savings is also important for future. Keeps you out of debt, and it helps you to have some sort of income if an emergency arises. All right. So your tithe and income, then your savings, and then you deal with the other parts, the other things, your food bill and your light and power bill, because you pay light and power, and if you don't pay, you know what will happen. You know what will happen if you don't pay your light bill. Light and power will say, well, you have been a good and faithful person for the last 20 years. And because you didn't pay the last 2 months, you know what? We're gonna let you go for another 5 months free. You know, they're gonna come and cut it right off. Cut it right off. You're gonna flick that switch, and you will get darkness. So now they say to us that your present expenses should be about 60 to 70% of your income. That takes care of the rest of your income, right? And that is for your food, for your bills, your car payments. Even though people say about car payments, that car is not really an investment, because by the time you finish pay off for the car, the value of the car is way less than what you paid for it. Yeah. So I think a car is one of those necessary evils when it comes to financing. Not a house. A house is good. You see, he want my mother. He was good. But like I said, if you ain't married, stay home. If you're married, stay at home. You can do so much when you stay home as a man. You can tell your family this is what you're intending to do, and they can help you save some money, so that when you go and you get down on one knee and you propose to the young lady, you have some place to carry her that you're not paying rent. We talk about future planning. So you can't think that you're a young man now 17, 18, and you're working for enough money, you're working for money 20, you're working for money. You gotta think that further down the line you may have a family. What do you want to do with that family? Do you want to be renting? Unless you got parents that already got their own home, that you know that if they pass away, if they if they're dead, you know that the house belongs to you. And you know, you got nothing to worry about then. But if you a part of a family that got 5 or 4 or 3 children, and you realize that you're not first in line, you better start to look to make for your own self. And you don't start that when you get 40 years old. You start from the time you get your first paycheck. Start putting aside something. Savings. Savings. And it may mean that you have to cut back on what you eat, but you're delaying your gratification. Now, sometimes you gotta entertain yourself. Sometimes you gotta spoil yourself a little bit, If you want to eat a little ice cream, you ain't buying ice cream every day. You don't go to your friend and buy ice cream every day, like if you was a polar bear. Right? You go to the belly, you know what? I can treat myself to something this month. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But do not make it a regular thing or a habit. We talked about this savings, 5 to 10% key to funding future needs, cash fund, short-term investment in assets, long-term investment in assets, purchase of income generating assets. So I buy a saw. It may not make money for me, but it saves money. Because once I can use the saw, I don't have to pay a man to use his saw. I use my saw and I cut my wood. And when it's done, it's for me to look at and say, you did a good job, good job, Pastor Hayes. If Theo don't like how it look, or Theo don't like how it look, ain't by them. You understand what I'm saying? And you would have at least saved a cost in labor. So if you're a man, or even if you're a woman, you can do some stuff for yourself. Learn how to do some things for yourself. I have one of my good friends. One of my good friends is a guy called YouTube. He helps me in all of my jobs. He comes over and he says, you know what, Pastor Hans, I can tell you, I'm gonna show you how to do this. And he does it. Sister Tanya, he does it, and I do what I have to do. Yeah? It's simple as that. So purchase of assets that appreciate in value, land. You can't go around buying land. But you gotta make sure it's good land. Don't buy land in the dark. They got people that buy land in the dark. Woo, 2 acres of land, boy. I would like to buy that in the mastermind. As you man, give me 150,000, man. It really costs about 200 cents, but give me 150,000. You give me 150,000, and when you go to look at the land, you realize 1.75 of the acres is swamp. All you could do is start a fish farm. That's the most you can do. So you gotta purchase assets that appreciate, and one of the assets that appreciate in value is land. So anytime you get an opportunity to buy land, you buy it. Don't give it a little small piece though. But you see, you've got the beauty of right? The beauty about land, right? Everything below that land is yours, and everything above that land is yours. So you can go as deep down as you like, and you can go as high up as you like. You may not be able to go left nor to the right, but you can go higher. And we talk about future needs, short term, less than a year, medium term needs, 1 to 3 years, and long term needs, greater than 3 years. So you got to be so when you're budgeting and in your savings, you got to be thinking along those lines. What do I need in less than a year? You may decide, okay, you know what? I want to go and do a program. I don't have the money. Let me save towards it so that in 2025, I can go and start that program and finish by 2028. I can apply for another job so that by the time I'm 40, I'm working for more money than I was working for 10 years ago. The process may take a little long, but it saves you money in the long run. And it saves you getting yourself involved in that. The easy way is to go and get a student loan or to go to the bank and get a loan, and the bank charges 6%, 7% for it, and you're paying back interest all of that time. So that by the time you pay interest, you pay interest up to a third of the value of the loan. So savings is important. Savings is key. And if it means that you have to cut something to save, cut it out. because savings is going to help you in the long run, right? It's going to help you in the long run. So it makes no sense having a full cupboard. You with me? It makes no sense having a full cupboard. It makes no sense having data on your phone every time you turn around. It makes no sense having all of the gadgets in your house and don't have any savings, because the value of those gadgets are depreciating in value every day. And the food, oh yeah, that takes a short trip from the cupboard straight to the bathroom. That's where it's going. you all know that's where it goes. Yeah, but sorry, take the long way. Some may stop and have you turn your back. So always make sure that you set aside savings. Always make sure that you're investing in something, right? So that 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, especially when it comes close to retirement, no, you really don't want to retire and living off a government pension. You don't want to do that. And if you're not working for an organization that is going to give you a pension when you're finished, it's best to make sure that you have invested in something that can give you additional income when you are finished working. And you can't start thinking about it when you're 50. You start thinking about it when you're 20 something, because it gives you more money when you reach 65. Yeah, what's your other friends who buy lunch every day and who are in the latest brand and who had the newest phone and who always had data on the phone and who always had all of these things inside their house? While they're scrambling, you could be living pretty good. But it means that you have to be disciplined. You have to be committed. And you have to practice delayed gratification. All right, so now we're out of that. Now we're talking a little bit about debt. And the question is, how can we manage our finances effectively so that we are not overwhelmed by debt and caught up in unnecessary debt that can cripple our family's future and hinder God's work, especially during difficult times. The COVID pandemic was a very difficult time. But I as church director, I realized that God's people were still faithful. Yeah, there were some people who lost their jobs. There were some people who were not faithful, but I would say probably 95 to 97% of the people of God's people were still faithful. Yeah, they still trusted God even during those difficult times. But when we have difficult times now, remember when they had COVID, the bank said to you, you don't have to pay any money. Remember the bank said, just come and we will give you a moratorium on what you have to pay. But they didn't tell you that you may not have to pay against the principal, but you got to pay the interest. And so the interest, so they say, okay, we give you a year. You don't have to pay anything for a year. And you figure that you're free. But the interest portion, they're adding on every month. Every month. Every month. Yeah? And that's increasing. So you want to make sure that any debt that you're involved in is manageable debt. Now, I have a philosophy that most people don't agree with, but that's my philosophy. I think I should be able to have my own philosophy, right? My philosophy is, for a mortgage, you're not in debt. In fact, your debt is only what is due in that particular month. So if you have a mortgage that's about 200 and something thousand, ooh, that's a big one, boy. Let me come back. Let me come back. You have a mortgage that's about 200 and something $1,000. Your debt is not $200,000. Your debt is your monthly payment. As long as you make that monthly payment, as far as the bank is concerned, you're not in debt to them until the next monthly payment is due. It's only when you don't make that monthly payment. And when you don't make that monthly payment, the bank don't come and say to you, give me the whole 200,000. They tell you, You just got to pay the last 2 months and you're good to go. So people get frightened. People get frightened for mortgage because they see it as a big sum. And they say, I don't want to go in debt for all that money. The debt is only your monthly payment. And as long as you can make that monthly payment, you're good to go. So in your budgeting, you always make sure. Now remember I said that a mortgage is an investment. So you always make sure in your savings you have your mortgage payment as part of that investment, part of that savings. And that way, once you pay your mortgage every month, there's no bank that can come and tell you, give me all 200,000 now. Then none. Not one. Once you are faithful. Yeah, once you are faithful. But if you're paying rent, a man can come and tell you, I go want back the house because I got a nephew that coming back from overseas. See? He get deport and he can need some place to live. You are going to look for some place to live. When you have a mortgage, the only way that you'll get put out is if you don't pay your mortgage. And no matter how hard things get, you will have a roof over your head all the time. When you have a mortgage, the likelihood of it increasing, it can happen because they may have a little change in interest rate over a period of time. But sometimes as it go up, they will also go down. And let me just say this to you. Banks don't tell you this, but I can tell you this one. If you have a mortgage, and let's say you got your mortgage at 6% interest, anytime that the mortgage rate goes up to 7-8%, the mortgage company is going to send you a letter saying that effective next month, your mortgage rate is going to be now at 8%. So now you will have to pay X amount. If that mortgage rate goes back down to 6%, 5%, they ain't send you nothing. You know what you have to do? You have to go into that mortgage agency yourself and say to them, I realize that the last couple of months, the interest rate was around 5-6%. I need my rate reduced. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to reduce it for you. But they're not going to tell you anything. All right? So anytime you get a mortgage, pay careful attention to the rate. They're going to tell you when it's going up, but they're not going to tell you when it's coming down. Right? They're not going to tell you when it's coming down. All right, so let's look at debt. And one of the key things in managing debt is guarding your spending habits carefully. The easiest thing to do now is spend money. That's the easiest thing to do now and spend money. You sit down on your computer, you surf the net, you see something that you want, you click buy, you put in your credit card number, click submit. Anything belong to you? Easy. So back in the day, you would have had to hope that somebody bring that from overseas. And when they're going to say, you got to put your hand in the pocket and you got to start counting out the money. And you know one thing about counting out money? The more that go from this hand into this hand, your heart will start to hurt you. Go like 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, I ain't gonna bother with that. Anybody know what I'm talking about? If you're buying things cash, you're more likely not to buy it than if you're buying it with a debit card or a credit card. Because anytime you go and take out that money and start counting out that money, and you're realizing that your side looking a lot less than that side, you go like, you see that there? I ain't gonna bother with that no more, boy. And you put back at your money, and you walk out the people's store. But now they have made it so easy. You just gotta go on. Right now you don't even go to put in a pin or nothing. You just sort of tap. Yeah. Tap. What? Tap. And the items are yours. Easy like that. So you gotta guard your spending habits. You gotta guard your spending habits carefully. Because this is what Sister White says. He says we should be on guard and not allow ourselves to spend money upon that which is unnecessary and simply for display. We should not permit ourselves to indulge tastes that leads us to pattern after the customs of the world. So the credit card, there's so many people. I know there's so many people that every year they go on a fitness program and they buy a treadmill. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And 2 months later, that treadmill is the best clothes hanger that you could ever see. In fact, that's the most expensive clothes hanger. I feel you could get a wardrobe cheaper than the treadmill. Anybody know what I'm talking about? They buy a treadmill and they don't use it. They could have simply said, you know what? I gotta do some walking. Let me walk around my neighborhood. If I start walking around my neighborhood, I ain't out no money. I still good. But if you buy a treadmill and you know you want a fancy treadmill, you want us go up in the air, go downhill, go so, go so. You want a fancy treadmill, you know? Want that looking real good because you can't go in this and play you buy the little cheap treadmill. Because they can tell you no, if you want something proper, you gotta buy something proper with brand, you know, proper that will last long. But you have a long lasting wardrobe, boy. You just should the clothes on it, man. Stock books and tape on it. So eventually, no, you don't even see the treadmill in the house no more. And that's what she's talking about. Do not buy things that are unnecessary. And so you gotta ask yourself the question, do I need it? Or do I want it? And if it's in the want section, your budget does not allow for that want, let it go. That's when you got to practice delayed gratification. Right? That's when you got to practice delayed gratification. So you got to guard your spending. Most people, most debt, credit card debt is like the banks just love one of them. The bank one of them to come for credit cards. Oh, come. Call one of them, come. Yeah, credit card. We're going to waive the first year. You ain't got to pay an annual fee for the first year. And we give you an introductory percentage of 9.99%. That's introductory for 3 months. After that, it gone to 12% and then up to 20-something percent. Boom. So it moved from 9% to 21%. So you got to guarantee, and so the world is moving along that same line in that some people tell you, well, we don't take cash. You got to pay with card. Now, let me just say this. Let me just say this very, very, very carefully. There's nothing wrong with credit. There's nothing wrong with credit once you are controlling the credit. Because if you have a good credit rating and you go for a mortgage with a good credit rating, they will say, okay, yeah, you're accustomed because they got a little computer in the back there, right? They got a little computer in the back there that is going. They say, you give me a minute, let me go and get this document here signed by the manager. You're going to send me the manager, then I'm going to check your name. You understand? I look to see who all you owe. Yeah. Let me just say this. I remember when I was younger, as when I first started working. You know, when you're working, you know, you want to buy things for yourself, you know. And I never had a session like this that they tell me avoid hire purchase. So I went and I bought a wardrobe, my own wardrobe. Yeah, for me to put my own clothes in. Woo, man, I felt important, man. And every month I was going to pay that. I will, you know, I think it was course. No, it was Man's Day. Man is on fair hate. Yeah. So when I going up to work, I was going to pay, you know, 1 month I didn't get to pay. I went pay the thing off and all. I paid the thing off before the time and all. I went back there several years later. No, they had this thing, buy it and pay off the cash price in 2 months. So I want to get on that deal. You want to come and tell me, well, you will go buy cash because you miss a payment. We you do a hair purchase. You talking about saying that happened 15 years ago? They still had that hole in over my head. I started keeping the thing. All right, I went by the next store. And I paid for it in 3 months at the cash price. Amen. Because I was not getting trip up in that hair purchase thing again. That tricked me once. And if you get once, is it trick me once? For me. Trick me twice. No, trick me once, shame on you. Trick me twice, shame on me. Ain't shaming on me. Right? So you gotta be able to guard your spending habits. You gotta be able to walk through town. You gotta be able to walk through town, look at things in the store window, and say that look good, and continue walking. Yeah? We have a lot of people know that they buy according to what they see. I want that. I want that. I want that. And a lot of people are in debt because they buy just what their eyes lusted after. All right, let's go again. Guard your spending habits carefully. We talk about deferring. We talk about family budget, creating a budget. If you're in debt, the best thing to do is create a budget. See where your income sources are. See where your income is coming from, and then distribute your income so that you're able to get yourself out of that debt. And we talked about savings. Remember, we talked about savings just now. Savings saves you from debt. Savings save you from debt. Yes, there will be some debt. I feel that okay, because of the value of things now, you may have a car loan. Yeah. I forget if you get a car loan and if you have a mortgage, that's good enough debt. But when you got credit card debt and you own the cooling man and you own Mannings and Courts and Standard, yeah, that's when you're running into a lot of problems. Right? So if you got a car loan, once you're able to manage the payment, that's good. If you have a mortgage, that's an investment. Keep paying it. But anytime you start getting into higher purchase and you start having all of these other debts, you go to the fast cash man and you get $5,000 from fast cash man, and the fast cash man said, "Man, take your time." And fast cash man is a modern day loan shark. The fast cash man say to you, "Okay, take your time and pay me." Yeah, but you know that when you pay, you're paying X amount of interest on that. So what I also say as well is that the interest, the additional interest that you pay on debt is money that you could have been spending doing something else. So if you have $115, all you have is $115. And you have to pay $120 on your loan payment, where $20 is interest because you didn't pay last time. You realize now that you owe them $5 more. Yeah? And so that's why you try to avoid you try to avoid getting into debt situations when you can't manage. So when you look at your budget, no, the thing about it, right, is that when people are in debt and things get tight, they just take off the first thing that's come on the budget. What's that? Tithe and offering. Because God don't want money, man. God don't want the money, man. One, God don't want the money. And two, when the pastors don't work, so when they're supposed to get paid. That's what they say. That's what they say. So we gotta be very careful that we don't trouble God's amount. If to get ourselves out of debt, we gotta manage our portion. Right? We gotta be able to manage our portion. Understand the types of debt that they have, and don't get yourselves involved in all sorts of debt. Now, there's some debts that they're loans. You can go like a car loan. Um, right now, right, right now, the bank, my bank. Every time I go online, they've got a little thing come up. We still have X amount of dollars for you. No? You can just come in at a lower rate of 6%. And you just got to say accept, and they'll send it for you. What? Pre-approved loan. I just want escape. Escape. I remember one time they sent me a check in the mail. $30,000. Tell me write to whoever you want to write it to. They can't catch me. Discipline. Yeah? Because you don't go, You got people that to go to the bank and get $10,000. No, they're struggling. The bank will tell them no, they can't get that money. They might tell you, you proof, man. You will come and you just come and tell me, you want it, and we'll give you it. Easy like that. And we give you at a very low interest rate. The last time they tell me was 7%. No, the interest rate got over 6%. I waited until they get to about 3%. When they get 3%, then I could consider them when they get about 3%. But loans, you got to be very careful getting yourself, because the banks have a lot of money. They have excess cash. The banks only make their money when they loan money out. If they are not lending money out, it means they can't make money. So if you are not borrowing money, if you are not using their money, then they can't make money. So they got to find all sorts of ways to get you to use their money so that you can pay them for using their money. And they can come with all sorts of fancy things. You want something new for Christmas? Don't, they will tell you, throw that old furniture and bring in new furniture. You can come and get a furniture loan. Go back to school. You want to make sure that your child has the latest computer. All these things they will bring. All these little gizmos and gadgets and all these little things. We just got to do, so like, if you got a computer, that home, that working, like work here, it may not start up as fast as the rest, but it's starting up. All right? And then you have lines of credit. Lines of credit basically is the bank opens a line of credit for you, which means that you can spend wherever you feel like, how much you feel like. They may give you a top value. I'm trying to remember what the interest rate would be on lines of credit, but it's just as bad as credit cards. Yeah? So like I said, the bank just telling you, I got money. You can come and just spend how you like, man. That's no problem. Buy clothes for your children. Buy clothes for yourself. You want to go overseas for a trip, pay for an airline ticket for you and the family, go on a cruise. You know, I got people that's going to take out loans to go on cruises. I would never go on a cruise then, boy. I take out the loan. I got to ask Elder Brown to let me go for him or little Moses. We see around the harbor come back. That's the most cruise ever come on. But it is. Then we got hire purchase. We talked a lot about hire purchase just now. We talked about co-signing on loans. You got to be careful co-signing a loan for somebody. When you co-sign a loan for somebody, it means that you're guaranteeing to the bank that if the person doesn't pay, you're going to pay. And if you co-sign a loan for somebody, you have actually now put all of your assets at disposal. Because the bank, once you have guaranteed that, the bank will come in and say, well, let me see what you have. Let's see what you have so that you can pay me back my money. And if you can't pay me back my money, you will cross in that little place across the road. Right here. You know the place I'm talking about? You'll probably just get 3 square meals. And you have security guards protecting you. Protecting you from those on the outside. You may not be able to walk around as you like and leave when you got security. Yeah? So I don't know, boy. I don't even know if I will co-sign a loan for anybody. Co-signing loans are very dangerous because you are trusting somebody to pay. And then if that person doesn't pay, it's all at you. Right? And then we have our favorite friend right there, credit cards. The bank realize now that a lot of people are using credit cards. So the bank say, all right, since we're using credit cards, we can give them a debit card, a debit Visa, so that when they can start spending one of money while. I remember them. What a debit Visa does, it gets you into a habit of spending. It creates a habit of spending, so that when your money is gone, you do begin to do what? Use the credit card. Because you have created that habit, right? And so therefore you want to be able to make sure that, yeah, debit Visa, cool, that's nice, I got access. So people say I got access to my own money. The bank love that because the bank is creating a taste in your mouth. That the bank knows that once you get this taste, it can be hard for you to let go. And that's when the bank can come and tell you, all right, listen. so that you don't have to spend your money, we get you a low interest card. The only interest is in the bank. All right, consigning loans. All right, let's woo, managing your debt. We're talking about managing your credit card. Now, debt to income. This is what banks do. They calculate how much of your income you should have available for debt, and they usually go at 30 something percent, 36%. So if let's say 36% of your income is about, let's say, $500, and the bank is going to give you a loan that the repayment is $550, the bank will tell you, sorry, they will tell you, no, you don't have enough money. So the challenge with us as Seventh Day Adventists is that we have to remember that 36% is really 56% for us, because we return 10% in tithe and 10% in offering. Yeah? So it's really 56% for us. And so sometimes we go into the bank, and the bank has, so what is your income? And they calculate the 36% of that income. And they say, okay, you can get a loan that you can pay back about 600 a month. So you go like, okay, they say, yeah, you can. But they did not take into consideration that you're going to be returning 10% in tithe and a percentage in offering. And so when you come the first month and realize that you return your tithe and you return your offering, and you only got $530 something to pay the bank loan of $600. So you got to always be careful and be cognizant of that when you're going for mortgage, going for loans. Principles of borrowing: shortest repayment terms possible, fixed rate of interest, understand the agreement. There's some loans that they charge you a penalty if you pay off too early. I find that they're not moving away from those now. They allow you to pay off when because the quicker you pay, it builds your credit rating, and it also makes you available now, gives you accessible now to more loans. Yeah, and you'll probably go for bigger interest on declining balance value. That is pretty standard for borrowing as well. Avoid unnecessary debt on items that decline in value. So you take your credit card and you go online and you buy clothes and you buy shoes. That is going to do what in value? Decline. And the thing about credit cards is that they have this sweet thing that they send out: minimum payment. Your minimum payment is $100 and something. You're going, what? Only $100 and something? Well, it can make $100 and something. So you buy a value of $3,000. $3,000 you buy a value of. Interest on that is 22 point something percent. And they tell you minimum payment of $100, and you snatch that minimum payment of $100, and they charge you the 20% of that 3,000. You pay a minimum payment the next month, that's $200 you pay. They charge you 20% on the same $3,000. They're charging you 22% on that $3,000 until you finish pay off that $3,000. So when they tell you minimum payment, run in the next direction hard. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Manage wisely your credit card. Avoid debt on your credit card. How do you manage wisely your credit card? Pay your credit card off on time. Yeah, pay your credit card off on time. Charge only what you can afford. I have a credit card. Should I be saying this online? It's a cashback. Yeah, it's a cashback card. So I charge everything on it, but I charge what I know is in my budget to spend. So I buy food, I buy gas, I do all I have to do with my credit card, and I get back cash back. Yeah, but at the end of the month, I do what? I take the money that I have budgeted to spend and pay the credit card off in full. So I use the bank's money. The bank pays me for using their money, and they don't get a cent from me. Well, the business owner, they've got paid I think 3 to 4%. The business owners have to pay a percentage if you use a credit card at your business, you have to pay the bank a percentage to get your money on time. The bank says, okay, I can guarantee you that you'll get the money that this person says they will pay, but you have to pay me a low percentage. So that's where they get their money from. So right now with a credit card, the bank makes money from the business place, and then the bank comes then and make money from you when you don't pay that credit card or when you pay the minimum payment. So the bank making money all around. So what you got to do, you got to be able to trick the bank now. You know, you have to try to manage your money and manage your credit card in such a way that you pay off your credit card every month. Don't pay the minimum payment. I remember one time they sent me a thing, you don't have to make a payment this month. I was like, really though? I was like, seriously? I don't have to make a payment this month? I said, all right, thanks for the offer, but I can still pay. Because when they come and say you don't have to make a payment every month, they're still going to charge you interest. So if you have a credit card, take that monthly payment and throw it out through the window. Because every time the interest goes on, that's more money you have to pay, and you're adding interest. That's compounding interest all the time. If you have a credit card, pay your credit card off in full each month. Pay it off in full each month, which means you only credit what you know you have money to buy. What you know you have money. What you know you have money to buy. Besides the credit card debt, is not being able to pay your balance in full. Now let me just say this about credit cards as well. The credit card does not belong to you. The credit card belongs to the bank. So if you get vexed one day because your credit card bill coming over $5,000 and you don't know where to get $5,000 from, and you get vexed and you cut out the people's credit card and throw it in the garbage can and lock the garbage bag and carry it up for the garage man to come out the garage man out the next morning and carry it down to the dump. When you go to the bank and say the bank you want to close off, the bank asks you where my card is. Somebody was telling me that there's a bank that they were working with that the bank didn't access to the card. They were like, that sounds right. But the card belongs to them. And if they leave the card with you, you having that card, you putting that card forward is that is the bank saying I am willing to guarantee this money. So that's why they say to you, bring back the card. Now, if you don't carry back the people's card, they're going to charge you annual fee on that card. So you either got to do one or two things. Get another island, or a nobody down. And save you for the 2 pieces of credit card that you cut up. What I'm saying to you, take the people's credit card, go to the bank, and say to the bank, man, you can have back your credit card. I no longer want to use this credit card. Now, if the amount is like 5,000 and it's a lot of money, what you will say to them, you may need to go to another bank to do that. Get a small loan that can cost you 7%, right? To pay off that credit card bill in full. But if you're going to pay off that credit card, remember it's 22% every month. So it's better to pay 7% than to pay 22%, right? Some banks will say to you, all right, yeah, you're going to that, we will give you a loan to cover the credit card debt, and so that you will pay at 7%, which would be a small amount each month, right? Which would be a small amount each month, right? So if you're not able, like I said, things of credit card debt is not being able to pay your balance in full every month. If you're not able to pay your credit card balance in full, you have put yourself in debt. Because now all of that money is due whenever the credit card company chooses to ask for it. That's different than a mortgage. A mortgage is you have a monthly plan, but the credit card company can come at any point in time and say to you, we need our money. And you have to find the money somewhere. You have to find the money somewhere to give them. Or get help to get out of debt quickly. Involve your family in decisions on debt. So don't go and get debt and then tell your family, oh, you got to pay this. That's why everything must be done as a family. If you're getting involved in debt, you do it as a family. You do it as a family as well. Categorize and prioritize your expenses, so that you make sure that you are able to make sure that you don't put yourself in debt for certain things. Right? Pay off by interest rate debt first. right? You have interest debt. So if you have three, four, five loans, you pay off, you get rid of the high interest ones first, right? And see if see if that helps. See this little fella here? Consolidate loans. He's a nice little fella. But consolidating loans, if not done correctly, can cause more problems than profit. Let me just give you an example. You have a 7-year loan for a car, yeah? And you have a 3-year loan for a loan that you made to travel overseas. Your 7-year loan for the car is at, let's say, 6.5%. Your 3-year loan is at 5%. They say to you consolidate the loans, which means now that they're going to bring all the loans together and put it at 7 years. Not at 3 years, they're going to put it at 7 years. So you're going to take a 3-year loan and turn it into a 7-year loan. It means now that your 3-year loan that was at 5% has now gone to a 7-year loan now at 6.5%. But it may look like you are paying a small amount each month, but you're actually paying more interest. And when you pay more interest, it means there's less money for you to do more things with. So if you're going to consolidate a loan, make sure the loans are almost of equal terms. So if you got two car loans, you can consolidate two car loans if they have the same. Now, if you got a loan as well that you have 2 years to pay, and you have another one that you got 5 years to pay, you want to consolidate them as well. Because now, like I said, you want to take that 2-year loan and make it a 5-year loan. Everybody understanding me? Yeah? So it's best if you're going to consolidate loans, make sure that they're equal terms. So if you have 2 3-year loans and you can consolidate them, the same interest rate or probably a percentage point different, you can consolidate them. But when you got disparity between terms, you fight hard and you sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed to get rid of that small one first so that you can concentrate on the longer one. But when you consolidate, yes, in terms of your cash flow, you may pay a small amount, but it's be over a longer period of time, which means that the bank is going to love you because your interest is going to be increasing. All right. Um, Avoid impulse buying. We talked about that just now, and always make prompt payments. Whew, that's the end of the presentation. I told you so. Are there any questions? Any questions? Oh, we lost somebody in the presentation of buying lots of questions. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that something that I said would have stuck, and that you can be able to apply the principles to remember the key principles though. God is the owner of everything. God gives us the power to get well. Discipline, commitment, delayed gratification. Budgeting, God first, savings, then regular expenses. Debt, stay away from higher purchase debt. Pay your credit card off in full all the time. If you can't pay it off in full, don't charge it. All right? All right, so are there any questions? Claudia, you have any questions? You may go come and she got just to use the mic, Adrian. Then you may have to come and use this mic on there. This one? Come down here, you may leave this one? Oh, well, she gotta come here and ask the question then. Oh, you there? All right. I'm not seeing you, man. No, just this time. Okay, thank you for being fancy for me, man. All right. All right, Tanya, go ahead. Remember you're on the air.
So you see, I'm living card life. I call it card life. Uh, what I'm having problems with is type paying because if you don't get to the ATM and withdraw what you have to withdraw, sometimes the time goes by and what's not. So I was wondering if the church can institute.
It's already instituted. Adrian, she can send you money online, right? You can transfer money from your account to the church's account. Huh? Yeah, but yeah, you can set up a payment schedule, but you can do it if you want. Make sure you do it yourself. You can go into your account and set up transfer, a person to transfer to, and you can get the information from Adrian. He will give you the bank account number, the bank that it is, the branch, and there's another number that's asked you for, and you can send every month. We return our tithes online.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so that's
it's
something you can do, and that's very easy than going to the ATM and having to take off money, the theater, having to take off money, and it's make sure that when you do it, there are three options they give you, right? They give you standard, they give you immediate, and then they give you another option. I can't remember the other option. Standard is 1 to 3 days, right? Immediate is immediate, but they charge you for immediate. So if you're going to do it, put it on standard all the time. They don't charge you for standard, right? Something will take 2 or 3 days to get to the church account.
well, okay. I would answer the question because there's a difference between banks and credit unions.
Your credit union. Credit unions is allowed to transfer as well, as yet.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah? It all depends on which credit union you're with.
Pardon?
It all depends on which credit union you're with.
Okay.
Yeah, but it should be. I know that credit unions were not on stream, but it seems more and more of them are coming on stream now.
But my question also is if that is a good thing or a bad thing to live on, have a card life.
Once you manage it carefully, once you manage it, like they say, once you manage it, you know just one buy. That's where you have your budget,
Right.
and you use your card according to your budget.
Yeah, because okay, say for instance, you buy groceries, and in the time, the groceries are gone. So your budget now, the salary hasn't gone anywhere, but the cost of living has. The
Gone up,
grocery
yeah.
prices have gone up, and what happens then because you're not seeing card like you're not actually seeing you gone, yeah, you just tap the card
Uh-huh.
and you paid for whatever groceries you want, but then you realize
But
you have to
when you're shopping, you gotta
keep track
keep a mental note of what you're buying. Now, if you realize that, okay, I would suggest anybody that they redo their budget, don't use the budget that you were using last year, because even though the income may be the same, the value of money has decreased, which means that you're going to pay more money for items, right? Um, so it may be better to redo your budget and using this year's prices, look and see what your food bill will be. Look and see what your electric bill will be. Because some electric bills have moved from $70 to 100 and something dollars. Some have moved from $200 to 300 and something dollars. So these are things that you will have to rejig your budget to
Right.
take into consideration.
Okay, I think I heard you say line of credit is basically on the same
It's like a credit, yeah,
it's like a
credit
credit
card,
card,
yeah.
which is a higher.
Well, maybe I'm not too sure what the interest rate is for a line of credit, but it's higher than a normal loan.
Okay.
It's higher. I don't use line of credit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't use line of credits are usually for business people who may have a little problem with salaries because they're getting their money from, let's say, getting money from their customers. Let's say a guy makes furniture and he sells furniture to company A, but company A is going to take 30 days to pay him, but he still has to pay his staff. So he uses the line of credit to pay the staff. So that when he writes a check, the bank will honor the check for that staff, and he will always come back and pay the bank. There's a cost attached to it. That obviously that's a cost of making business, right?
But you recommend to get rid of that, or assume you have one, you recommend to clear that.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
would-
you were saying, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't get involved with the line of credit because line of credit makes it too easy to spend money that you don't have.
Okay.
Yeah, you spend money that you have because what the bank is saying, what the bank says is, hey, you know what? I'm going to extend your line of credit up to $5,000, and even though you may not have the money on the bank, you can still write a check against the amount, or you can still go and withdraw up to that amount.
Okay.
Which means now that you have effectively gone into debt to the bank.
Okay.
Right? So you want to be able to, and it makes like I said, what they're trying to create in us is a taste of getting things easy.
Okay.
And once we have that taste in our mouths, it's a little difficult to spit it out. Right? So I would try to clear it down, cut it down, and just start with it.
It
And
can be cleared in full. It's something that can be
you
cleared.
don't have to go into the bank. Ask them how much it is that you have on your line of credit that is due to them. You may not have to use it. It's just a facility, just in case you want to use it, but you may not have used it. Right? So you go and you say them, all right, I no longer need that facility.
Okay.
Yeah. But what you would have to do now is that you have to make sure that you have your savings, because your savings is what's going to help you in a tight spot.
Okay.
Right? So your savings, you don't have to pay interest on your savings. But like the credit card, you have to pay interest, and big interest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You could come back, man. That's all right.
My first question is,
Okay.
what financial advice would you give to a young person now starting their career, and what are the first financial steps they should?
For any young person who is not starting out working, don't leave home. Don't leave home. Stay home. Yeah, because if you leave home, you're going to rent. Rent is an expense. Yeah. So watch what leaving home does. Leaving home now moves you from a person who is being taken care of to a person who has to take care of themselves. So you have to pay rent, you have to pay a light bill, you have to pay a water bill, you have to pay a phone bill. You have to make sure that you have a refrigerator full of food, so you have to buy your own food. Yeah, you gotta make sure you have a stove, washing machine, all of that. At home, they already have all of those things that you can use for free. So what you do is that you say to your parents, listen, always share with your parents what your goals are, because the young person, you gotta set yourself goals as well, right? I'm 20 now. By the time I'm reached 30 years old, I want to be able to achieve X, Y, Z. Set out that. You always have to have financial goals, right? Third thing you would do, make sure that you set money aside in savings, right? So you may want to go invest in a life insurance plan, right? The life insurance plan is also important when you have to go get a mortgage. The bank wants to know that you have a life insurance plan. So that life insurance plans can always use. And there's some life insurance plans that that if you are in a financial bind, you can go and you can go and take some of your money off of it, right? So all of these are things that you can do. So make sure that you invest your money in a life insurance plan or some sort of plan that's going to take care of you when you get 65. So you go like, 65 all the way, 65 is all the way down there, yeah. Yeah, but sooner or later, 65 can get there real fast. I was 20, and 65 get all down the corner, all the way down there. 65 is just short there by sister way for their house. Yeah, that's why 65 is, And I walking slow now. I just walking slow because I want to get to 65. But the beauty about time, they always moving. Right? So talk to your parents, develop some financial goals for yourself. So what you want to do. And these financial goals should also include what you want to do in terms of your education, in terms of your career. You may come in at an entry level position. You don't want to stay there all the time, but it may mean now that you may have to go and get another qualification in order to another level. So how much would that qualification cost? And you start saving towards that qualification. All of these are financial plan, financial goals. All right, and save some money. Right, don't spend all. All right, all right. Okay. Another question? Then? Okay, go ahead.
Next question is, how can a young person start making wise investments and where should they start?
How can they start making wise investments? Um, the best investment is always okay. This is how investments go. Higher interest investments carry more risk. Lower interest investments carry less risk. Right? Which means that if you want to make money fast, you can make money fast, but you can also lose money faster. Or you can invest, like I said, into life insurance, into a credit union, put some money on the credit union because the bank interest don't really make it. The credit union also works in your advantage in that they will give you 3 times the amount of money that you have if you want a loan, whatever the case may be, and the interest rate is more favorable to you, right? But you can have deposits and you can have shares. Invest in shares. That means you're going to get dividends every quarter, every year, whatever the case may be, right? So if you're going to invest low interest, life insurance or anything like that, any fund like that, um, credit union, right? Um, High interest, won't buy shares in some company that really looking real good, but you know how long they can last. Shares can be a hit or a miss. Yeah, you can go and buy shares in a company. You know, Honest is a very, very stable company, and there's some very stable companies, right? Company that's been around for years, but you may have a company that's been around for years, and then tomorrow you hear the company closing down. But buying shares is always a risk attached, right? And when you buy shares, you gotta be of the view that you're willing to lose that money. If you're not willing to lose that money, don't put it. Anytime you invest in something you're not willing to lose the money, don't put it in the investment. And so it's best to go for low interest investment, which will give you consistent money over a longer period of time. All right? Yeah. No, no, no. No, like you said, there's some long-standing. Okay, you remember there was Mannings. You all remember Mannings? Mannings is no Massey, and somebody's going to come and take over Massey just now. You don't think so? No, man. I never thought somebody would take over Simpson. You never thought somebody would take over Simpson. When Mannings was Mannings, you never thought anybody would come. BS&T. Nobody ever thought that somebody come and take over BS&T. BS&T workers felt that, hey, we good. We good. But there's always somebody out there. There's always a bigger fish in the sea who just looking for a little fish to do so. Not your off.
Yes.
No hard questions after
No,
sunset and
no,
all.
good question.
Go ahead.
Well, given the cost of living now, and the fact too that like there's this big push now with this solar thing at Green, so a lot of church members, if I, but people in general, now have to. Would you say, first of all, that we should invest in that because persons may even have to redo their roof structure to be able now to fit these solar panels, and then also persons know to have to change their vehicle to make sure that they get this green vehicle. So all of this are things now that will call for planning and financial planning.
Correct.
Can
Correct.
the church itself, rather than just have a seminar, does the church have a framework that they can put in place where members can actually be able to tangibly have access to this form of financial planning? I know there's a credit union. I'm wondering if they have a facility that you can be able to plan or like some kind of saving structure. And they give you financial counsel, bring you in, see how, based on your income and what's not, put something in place so that when these things come, well, some of them are coming already, but
Yeah.
as they continue because they plan to escalate, that members are in a position to be able to make that smooth transition.
No, solar energy, solar power, solar energy. As you said, that's where the whole world is going now. And I think the government has made a mandate that by 2030 they want to be full green. I don't know how to get that done because I really plan to get rid of my nice little fearful Isuzu truck. Honestly, I plan to give you something. But the beauty about the solar is that there are a lot of incentives to get involved, right? Some of the incentives that some of the payments that you make towards the solar, the interest, the the government is giving you a tax incentive on that, right? So that means you don't have to pay taxes on it. The banks now are giving special loans for if you're going into renewable energy. So I think there was one bank that was giving a interest rate of 3.5%. I was like, wow, 3.5%, right? 3 point, like that's like a steal. Yeah, that's like a steal. Um, so the government is pushing it, right? And the banks are making it easier for you to get it done. Now, the selling point of the solar energy is that you'll be on grid, which means that the light and power is going to buy all of the power that you use, all the power that you break down. So it's basically like a buy all sell all, right? You sell all of your power to them, and you buy all of your needs from them, right? So usually what a bank would do, what a solar person would come and do is look at your light bill and say, okay, this is the type of system that you want. But I would say to you, as has been said to me, if they say to you, get a 5 kilowatt system, and your roof can hold 9 kilowatts, go for 9 kilowatts. Because 9 kilowatts means it's more money, more power you are generating, which means that you're more money you're going to get from out of light and power, right? Which means that you will more than just pay your light bill, right? But you will make some money on it. There's a company that IDC is working with called Inogen, who they're arranging to make some special offers to some of the Adventist members. We are some of the Adventists. And the beauty about it is that there's power in numbers. Yeah? If I go by myself, the man may want to tell me, well, there's how much I got to pay. But if 5,000 we go, and all we say we come in together as one, the man gonna make a deal now that will cover all 5,000. And one of the things that the Inogen is offering is that they're offering you, I think, is a 10% cash back. So if you install a system that's about $40,000, right? Um, they will give you 10% once you pay up the four. If you pay the $40,000, they can give you about $4,000, right? And that $4,000 you can do what you want. Now they're also offering what we call combo systems, which is on the grid and also savage battery power. So you can let's say you got a 5 kilowatt system, you may use 3 kilowatts to sell to light and power and 2 kilowatts for yourself. And what people usually do is because the electricity, that battery is going to be full to a point and then it's not going to be able to take any more energy. So what people usually do is use the power from the battery to run their house, which reduces how much money they will have to pay the light and power, which increases the amount of money that they will get from light and power. So it's right now it can make you some good money. It can make you some good money, and if you know a few people that if you got money to spend, you got a $200,000 just sitting down there doing nothing. You can go and come by Pastor Hands and rent Pastor Hands' roof. And say, Pastor Hands, this is what's going to happen, Pastor Hands. You don't have to worry about paying your light bill. The power is going to take care of all of that. I can just get the money, the little extra that comes off. Yeah? And what IDC is doing is IDC is they want to involve all churches in the program. So they want to be able to use the roofs of the churches, which belong to the East Caribbean Conference. The church might have to, they won't have to pay no, because they're going to get their power from the sun, so they don't have to pay any light bill, right? But the money now goes back now to help with projects that the conference would like to do about Oldbury or whatever the case may be, right? So already there's some churches on that, and just now they're going to have a rollout of what would be for the members. But I would say still investigate all avenues. Yeah, because one man said because they're using consolidated finance. I think consolidated finance is offering like 5%. Right? Can I call bank? Republic Bank is offering like 3.5%. And with Republic Bank, they include the cost of any retrofitting inside the loan. Right? So if you were going for a normal loan to retrofit your roof, you got to pay 7%. But here now you can get 3.5% and get your roof retrofitted. All right. So if you have the wherewithal that you can invest in it, invest in it, right? Because you won't lose. And the money, the reason why banks are getting into it is because banks is low risk for banks. Because you're going to get, if they're going to say, okay, you're going to get money from Light and Power, and you're going to use that money from Light and Power to pay off the bank. So basically, you don't really handle any money, but you handle it that you take it from Light and Power and you pay the bank. Take from Light and Power and pay the bank. And the bank is only going to give you a loan big enough that they will know that your payment from Light and Power is going to cover. So the bank getting out happy all the time. All right?
Okay, I have a comment from Zoom. From Sister Graves, Sister Natalie Graves. She said, I hardly tap. This is in relation to the bank. She says, I hardly tap, and also I withdraw a certain amount and try to use that per week, except for big purchases like grocery store, like going to the grocery store. And then she says, also she tries to withdraw only from her bank's ATM.
Yeah, that's another thing, because with these debit Visa cards now, banks are charging you $3 for every withdrawal. Right? I'm like that. If I do withdraw, I find a bank, my home bank to withdraw. If not, I would, if I can transfer the money, because you can transfer money to anybody. Once I know Theo's banking information, I can send money to Theo. I can send money to you, send money to anybody. Once I know your banking information, you can send money to me. It is that easy now. It is that easy now. Go ahead.
Okay. And Sister Caroline Seeley said on YouTube, she was saying that she doesn't believe that every family's financial plan will look the same. The principles of discipline, commitment, and delayed gratification must still be present, but the structure of a pool does not have to be present and may not be present.
I don't agree with that. I don't. I think a pool. Now. Let's understand, a pool does not mean that you withdraw all your money from the bank and put it in one area. A pool means is that you understand what your wife is making, and she understands what you're making, and you sit down and so you may have two different bank accounts at two different places, but you manage the money based on your budget. Your budget uses the pool idea, wherein the budget uses the total income coming to the family. Rather than one person saying, I pay for this, and another person, I pay for this, I pay for this. You're going to run into problems. And a situation may arise when one person has to go to the other person, and the other person says, but this we agree on, and that can create a whole sort of chaos, right? And that's why the agreement should be both persons coming down, sitting down, and deciding this. Now out of the pool, you also have an allowance. So your wife gets an allowance and you get an allowance, right? All of that is in the pool, so that nobody is disadvantaged. Everybody has the same benefits to the pool, the same access to the pool.
And this includes the child as well.
Yeah, it includes the child as well. So the child will have an allowance, but you got to tell the child they got to return tithe on the allowance. Tithe an offering. Yeah, no, there's a difference. Lunch money and allowance. Lunch money is not an allowance. Lunch money is that I don't feel like cooking for you, so buy lunch at school. Allowance is this is yours for you to spend whatever you want. Which now makes it a blessing that that child, and that's how you teach children to practice returning type and offering from young.
And another, the last question from YouTube. Um, Brother Gittin says, Pastor, what about Bitcoins and cryptocurrency investments? Are these for God's people?
No, I don't. I like to stay in my lane. I don't know too much about bitcoins, but I've been reading. I've been reading. There was one. I'm trying to remember one sportsman who decided to have his contract in Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin has decreased in value, and so he's out some amount of millions of dollars because of the decrease in value. You got the same amount of Bitcoin, but the value has decreased. Bitcoin is like shares. Yeah, Bitcoin is like shares, right? It all depends on who wants to put their money behind it. That determines the value of it. And if you don't have people now, let's say, for the different types of Bitcoins, let's say Barbados decides the majority of business places in Barbados decide to use Bitcoin as a form of payment, which means that Bitcoin will now become more important, right? The value of Bitcoin will go up. But let's say that all of a sudden those same people say we're using that no more. It means now that the value of that Bitcoin is going to do what? It's going to go down. And so you may have Bitcoin that's worth $5,000, and by tomorrow that same Bitcoin will carry you $50. So it's a risk. It's a risk. I don't think it is something that you need to invest in because it is not a consistent form of money transaction, right? At least not at our level. You can't go to PriceSmart or you can't go to Massey and pay in Bitcoin, right? Maybe Elon and those and Bill Gates and those areas, those guys deal with Bitcoin, but not we ain't get that high up yet.
Yes, Pastor. Just three things quickly. One, the way you were speaking about the credit cards and so on, I didn't hear you touch on what your favorite courses was, which is the K-Shepherd card, which would have run a lot of persons I know in serious problems.
Oh yeah,
Shepherd
Care
card.
Shepherd cards.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Care Shepherd card. I don't even know too much about those, but they carry the same interest rate, or they work
Yeah,
like a higher purchase.
No, they carry interest rate.
They carry interest rate too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, if you're not able to manage these items, listen, it's a card of some sort. Make sure you pay off in full when it is due. Don't pay any minimum payment. Don't pay half. They're not going to calculate the interest on what you have remaining. They're going to calculate the interest on the full amount. That's how they make their money. Right? That's what I meant. So FK Shopper has a card that's like a credit card. Basically, the same principle applies. Pay it off in full. So if you know that on the 23rd day of the month, your credit card becomes your gift shopper card becomes due, on the 22nd day of the month, you go into Care Shepherd and pay it off. Right? If you know your credit card becomes due, Tanya, what you can do now with your credit card, you can go on and pay your credit card online. Yeah? It saves you having to, online is, I do online banking, we pay all our bills online, like water, we pay online. So I don't want to start paying online no more. I'm so glad for that. You say I start paying short pay, like before the high short pay, you gotta go like the power, you gotta go water authority, you gotta go one place. Now you gotta go short pay, so you start so at 12 o'clock in the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, I can get up and go on my computer and pay all of my bills. Pay all of them. Obviously, you got make sure that you pay them in that the money, because you got to still give the money 2 to 3 days to get to where it's supposed to get. Yeah, so if the deadline date is the 28th, don't play you going on the 27th or the 28th in the morning to pay. Go like the 25th. If you have the money, go like the 25th and pay so that the money can get there to time. Or not, you won't get the discount, right?
Secondly, you will touch about paying things cash if you can. But what about if you have the cash available, but rather than taking up all of that to say, for example, if you want to go and pay buy a television or so on, but you have the arrangement where you can pay it off in 3 months. You want doing that as
Use the
opposed
3 months.
use the 3
Yeah,
months.
use the
Okay.
3 months. Um, the beauty about managing money is if you can use the bank's money without paying the bank, use it. Yeah. So I have a credit facility with a particular business place. I can go and they give me 30 days credit. Means that I don't have to pay for things under 30 days. I then go and pay with my credit card. This gives me another 25 days credit. So that's 55 days that I didn't have to pay any cash. And then I pay it off in full. So really, truly, I have 55 days without having to pay any cash, and then I don't pay the bank anything other than what I use. Right? What another thing that you must be careful of sometimes as well, and people always feel that when they come into money, that they should go and clear all of their debts. No. If you have a debt that is manageable, you understand me? That you're able to, let's say you can invest your money into the credit union that's going to get you 4%, right? You have a car loan that you are managing very well, that's at 6%. This is only a 2% difference. So you basically only pay 2% difference, right? Instead of taking up your cash to go and clear off the car loan, keep your cash there, make the 4%, and still continue to pay your loan. You understand what I'm saying? When you have finished paying that car loan, you still have your cash. That's how when you see these big businessmen, Carl Williams and these guys, when these guys want to buy tractors and things, these guys going to go and take their cash to go buy tractors. These guys go into a bank and say to the bank manager, I want $4 million to buy X amount of tractors. And the bank manager said, no problem. They use the $4 million to buy the tractors, pay off, rent out the tractors, use the tractors, pay off for that loan, and still have their money. Still there sitting down, probably in some investment that make it interest. So because you commit to money doesn't mean that you automatically going to clear all your debt. So, well, I live in debt free, but you're also poor because you don't have the money anymore. Right? You don't have the money. So take your time, take a nice little breath and say, all right, let me just watch this. Okay, this one is manageable. This one is not manageable. Let me pay off this one, but this one I will keep paying. $300, $400, $500. I can manage that, right? And you, at the end of the day, you still have your cash there, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure um, that you have money that in case something pops up, you're able to take care of it. But that's not a general thing. You got to be able. It got to be situation by situation, right? It got to be situation by situation, and it all depends on how high this interest rate is. And so if it now let's say if you can pay off that and save yourself $4,000, $5,000 in interest, you pay it off. But if you pay it off and it's only saving you like a $500 interest, then you don't worry your head about it. All of these are things that you have to take into consideration.
So in terms of that, then you're paying a mortgage.
hmm
Should you then, therefore, if you come into money, then at least put some of that money then to your principal, which will break down.
Yeah, you can do that.
that,
You can do
right.
that. But always make sure that you put aside something as savings as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the final question is, you're talking about investments. What about investing in government paper, government bonds?
Government paper is one of those low risk, very low risk, right? Very low risk. But because of the we not getting politically Adrian. um, the thing about government is that sometimes you're sure you're going to get your money. Yeah, it may not be what you depend. You see, because the financial situation of a country can go from good to bad in like 10 seconds, right? And like I said, as I say the young lady there just now. Anytime you invest money in government paper, shares, whatever it is, be prepared to lose it. Yeah? Because if you're not prepared to lose it, you may end up losing your life. Yeah? So if you know that, okay, I'm going to invest $10,000 in government paper, and there's a possibility that I may only get back $6,000 out of that, right? Be prepared with that in mind. I'm going to invest $10,000 in shares. There's a possibility that these shares can go up to 20,000, or the possibility can come back down to 5,000. You got to prepare that in mind because of the risk attached to it, right? Because of the risk attached to it. Once upon a time, government paper was an easy investment, easy. But now, because we have so many hands, IMF and all these people having so many hands inside our part, they can come in and control interest rates, and they can come in and determine what bonds are supposed to be sold at, and that type of thing, right? They have that amount of clout now, right? And so it's not as easy as before. It's not as easy as before. But it is one of the low risk items. In that, if you invest $10,000, you can be sure that if they say in 5 years come back, you get your $10,000. Once my time it was so now it's a little iffy. It's a little iffy. That's it. Thank you very much. You're going to come and close off. All right.
On behalf of the AOA Societies of the St. John District, Pastor, I want to thank you for your enlightening program. I'm sure that a lot of us would have learned many things. So I hope that you took notes, that you would have written your whatever interesting facts you would have learned. I hope that you took notes and that you would go home, you do some more research so that you can plan for your financial future. So please stand for our closing prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much, dear Lord, for giving us the opportunity where we can come together, we can fellowship, where we can learn about how to store that which you have given unto us. I pray, dear Lord, that we will put you first in everything, knowing that all comes from you. Thank you so much, dear Lord. Help us to have a wonderful week in your precious name. I want to thank all of you who would have come out, all of those who are also on Zoom and on YouTube. I'm sure that you have many more questions. Maybe we'll do a part 2 so that all of your questions that you didn't get answered today will get answered in the future. So have a wonderful week ahead of you.